Question number 3. Are there any supplements to help the brain recover during the antipsychotic withdrawal period? There are things that can be given during the antipsychotic withdrawal period that make it actually work, and they are participating in recovery of the brain as well at the same time. So usually what an antipsychotic does, like the fundamental aspect of an antipsychotic, there are differences between some of these antipsychotics, but most of them target dopamine. So here's dopamine, right? So it's saying you cannot come over here, right? Where, let's say it's a person that's looking for an iPhone, the iPhone 16, 17, or 28, whatever the current thing is that people are looking for. And over here are where the iPhones are. Okay, so what happens on this side is you're blocking this dopamine thing, right? And what happens on this side is it just builds up more receptors. Like it just gets more and more and more and more liable that this little bit of dopamine that comes through is going to actually excite something, right? So that's called neuroadaptation. You put in something that blocks a reward neurochemical. Also, it's not just a reward neurochemical, it's actually a survival neurochemical. My ability to do this now, hopefully you can see this, but my eyes are closed right now. I'm not looking. For me to be able to do that requires proprioception that lies outside of my visual field. In other words, like the position of my head and neck and where I am in space to be able to do that. That transmission is what keeps me from falling off a curb in front of a bus, right? So your body's going to try to survive, right? In order to make that thing happen for you to keep you alive. That's kind of like the overarching command is survive, keep this living organism alive. Even if you don't want to be alive, you really can't stop breathing on your own. You know what I mean? Your organism is going to want to keep you alive. So then what happens when you take away that dopamine, right? Or you take away that drug, and you've got these excessively volatile receptors on this side. They're like, waiting for, for that iPhone to happen. And all of a sudden you give it, the chance for overstimulation is going to be extreme, right? You're giving a near normal amount of dopamine to these receptors that are very, very hypervolatile. And that is going to look like mania, psychosis, all of those things. So it's kind of like if you had, and I give this analogy a lot, like you walk up to the top of 10 flights of stairs, you have to walk back down those same 10 flights of stairs if you want to go to your car. Yeah? Well, there's a physics involved in that, because if you jump off the roof, what's going to happen? You're going to get hurt, right? We all know that as kids. We fell off of something, we got hurt. But we don't necessarily comprehend, unless we've been told, that there's the same physics that apply to coming off these medications. You can't just jump off of an antipsychotic and expect things to go well. You have to walk down the same stairs that you walked up to get there, and you do it slowly enough so that you are not hurting yourself on the way down. So some of the supplements that may help with that are going to be the cofactors that are breaking down that dopamine, so the amount of dopamine that's hitting those receptors is not quite as impactful. And that would be vitamin C, niacin, like 500 milligrams of niacin, and some lithium orotate and tryptophan. On the website, actually, Alternative Med Center website, there's usually a page or a video, there's a page basically that deals with a category of medication you're on. If you're talking about antipsychotic withdrawal, if you go on the menu part and you drop down and you look at medications, you'll see antipsychotics. And you'll click on antipsychotic withdrawal. Usually that's the best video, rather than Risperdal withdrawal or Latuda withdrawal or whatever. That's going to really speak to what the supplements are. And there's also another page on the website called Antipsychotic Alternatives, and that really gives you a download of the different supplements that we use in order to get people off antipsychotics, and the dosing and how you do it, because there is a bit of a mechanism behind how much vitamin C to take, how much niacin to take, and how much lithium orotate is appropriate, and I think you might find it more on there. But generally, it's vitamin C to tolerance. In other words, the point where you start having diarrhea is the point where you back down. Niacin, you're going to have a flush that goes along with it. You need to be prepared for that. It's going to make your skin feel as if you have sunburn. And lithium orotate, I didn't really want to put that finger down, but lithium orotate is going to be about 5 milligrams, maybe 20 milligrams. Lithium is really a cofactor for the breakdown of dopamine. Like they give lithium in these very toxic amounts to try to help people not be manic. I can't give you medical advice, and I'm not giving you medical advice, but generally speaking, in the experience of the world, even in places where there's just more lithium in the groundwater, the chances of schizophrenia are greatly reduced, and manic behavior and homicidality and suicidality are actually lowered just from parts per million. So the lithium that is in lithium orotate is not really a prescription; it's a naturally occurring substance, right? And it's not. The difference in the prescribing of naturally occurring elemental lithium and lithium carbonate, like the difference in the lithium carbonate between the neuroprotective level and the neurotoxic level is so narrow you have to take blood tests to make sure you're not destroying your kidneys. So to get the positive effects from it. So, these are the informed consents that you may have not been given in certain ways, and take the information and do with it what feels right to you, run it around, and get some other perspectives on it. I do want to remind people that don't take medical advice from people you're talking to or think you're talking to on YouTube. This is information. The information that I have for you is based upon seeing a residential population for, at this juncture, 18 years, and making some determinations that most outpatient doctors don't get to see, right? Somebody prescribing, come back in 2 weeks. They don't know what water you've been drinking, what person you had an argument with or whatever, and by and large we've controlled a lot of variables around that to focus in some really good information, but still we don't know who you are as where your life has been and what is really real or true for you. Only you knew that. And again, don't change any medications based upon what you've heard from us, or even supplements. You might want to get a practitioner even on those supplements before you start taking something that you have not been prescribed by someone. I do understand that there's not a lot of doctors that can guide you through this, and there's not even a lot of natural type-minded people that can guide you through this, and so you might have to experiment. I get that. But just know that we're not allowed to prescribe, we're not allowed to give medical advice through YouTube. All right, thank you. Have a very nice day or evening, and hope to see you on the next video.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. For information about Alternative to Med Center, give us a call at 888-984-9667.